The U.S. Hyperion drifted silently through the void, its sleek hull reflecting the distant starlight. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the bridge's observation window, her dark eyes scanning the unfamiliar star system. The exploration vessel had ventured farther than any human ship before, pushing the boundaries of known space. "Captain, we're picking up unusual energy signatures," Lieutenant Rodriguez announced from his sensor station. "It appears to be a ship, but the configuration doesn't match anything in our database." Chen straightened, her attention sharpening. "Show me." The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a vessel unlike anything they'd ever encountered. Its organic curves and crystalline structures defied conventional engineering principles. More importantly, it was listing badly, energy readings fluctuating in patterns that suggested severe damage. "Life signs?" Chen asked, already moving toward her command chair. "Yes, Mom. Multiple signatures, but they're weak and declining." Rodriguez's fingers danced across his console. "Their life support systems appear to be failing." Chen didn't hesitate. Humanity's first contact protocols were clear about encounters with unknown species, but they were equally clear about the duty to rescue those in distress. "Move us into range. Prepare medical bay for possible xenobiological patients. And get Dr. Harrison up here. We're going to need our xenolinguist." As the Hyperion drew closer, they got their first clear visual of the alien vessel's occupants through the ship's transparent sections. Tall, willowy beings with iridescent skin moved frantically inside, their movements becoming more desperate as systems continued to fail around them. "They're broadcasting something," Communications Officer Park reported. "It's not in any known frequency pattern, but it's definitely a signal." Dr. Harrison arrived on the bridge, her expression intense with concentration as she listened to the alien transmission. "It's a distress call," she said after a moment. "The language structure is fascinating, but the desperation comes through clearly enough." Chen nodded. "Open a channel. Let's see if we can communicate our intentions." What followed was a tense exchange of signals and gestures. The aliens initially recoiled at the sight of the humans, their reaction suggesting they found something deeply unsettling about human appearance. Chen later learned that it was their obvious musculature and bone density that disturbed them. To beings evolved on a low-gravity world, humans looked like living weapons. Despite their initial fear, the aliens' deteriorating situation left them little choice but to accept help. The Hyperion's engineering team, led by Chief Engineer Patel, worked to stabilize the alien vessel's critical systems while medical teams stood by. "Captain," Harrison called out, her voice tight with excitement, "I think I'm starting to understand their language. They call themselves the Luminary. Their ship suffered catastrophic damage while studying a nearby pulsar." Chen watched as the first shuttle of Luminary was carefully brought aboard. Their willowy forms seemed to float in the artificial gravity, which had been adjusted to match their home world specifications. Medical teams approached slowly, their movements deliberately gentle to avoid frightening the already stressed aliens. The Luminary's fear began to turn to amazement as they watched the human crew work. What had initially appeared to them as threatening physicality was revealed to be extraordinary capability. They watched in wonder as human engineers manually restored power systems that their own automated repair units couldn't handle, as human medical staff quickly adapted their treatments to alien physiology. "They're calling us world breakers," Harrison translated with a slight smile. "Apparently, our ability to function in what they consider crushing gravity and our physical resilience marks us as something special." Chen approached the Luminary leader, a being whose skin shimmed with patterns of light that Harrison said indicated both authority and gratitude. Through the gradually improving translation system, Chen learned that the Luminary were part of a loose confederation of spacefaring species, none of whom had evolved on worlds with gravity higher than 0.7 Earth standard. "Your help will not be forgotten," the Luminary leader communicated, their skin pulsing with patterns of blue and gold. "Though we initially feared your obvious strength, you have shown us that power need not mean threat. The stories of this day will spread among our people. As Chen looked around the medical bay, watching humans and aliens working together to save lives and repair damage, she felt the weight of the moment. This wasn't just a rescue mission. It was humanity's first step into a larger galactic community. And while their physical capabilities might have initially frightened the luminary, it was humanity's compassion and willingness to help that would truly mark their entrance onto the galactic stage. "We have much to learn from each other," Chen replied through the translator. "This is just the beginning." The luminary leader's skin flickered with patterns that Harrison translated as agreement and hope. Neither species knew it yet, but this chance encounter would change the course of galactic history, beginning a partnership that would combine humanity's strength and determination with the luminary's advanced technology and cosmic knowledge. The U.S. Hyperion had set out to explore the unknown, but they'd found something far more valuable: the first threads of an interstellar alliance that would reshape the galaxy. 2 weeks after the rescue of the luminary vessel, the U.S. Hyperion had become a floating embassy of sorts. The ship's massive cargo bay had been converted into a temporary alien habitat, its gravity carefully calibrated to match the luminary homeworld. Captain Chen found herself spending more time there than on the bridge, working with the luminary to establish diplomatic relations. But peace wouldn't last long. Multiple ships dropping out of FTL. Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice cut through the ship's comm system. "Unknown configuration, heavily armed. They're not luminary." Chen was already moving, sprinting from the alien habitat to the bridge with a speed that made the watching luminary's skin pulse with astonishment. By the time she reached her command chair, the situation had deteriorated further. 7 vessels, Captain, Rodriguez reported. Energy readings suggest weapons powered and shields active. They're broadcasting. The Kryvax, the luminary leader's translator, crackled to life behind Chen. She turned to find them floating there, their skin dark with patterns of fear. They are raiders, scavengers. They'd prey on damaged ships and isolated colonies. They must have detected our distress signal. The lead Kryvax ship launched a warning shot that passed just ahead of the Hyperion's bow. The message was clear: surrender or die. They expect us to be like the other species they've encountered. The luminary leader continued, their skin now showing patterns of worrying and guilt. "We have brought this danger to you." Chen's response was cut off by the arrival of a transmission from the Kryvax fleet. The bridge crew found themselves staring at a being that looked like a cross between an earth crocodile and a praying mantis, its chitinous armor gleaming under harsh lights. "Surrender your vessel and your alien passengers," the Kryvax commander's translated voice growled. "Your ship's design is unknown to us, but we outnumber you 7-1. Resistance would be futile and messy." Chen rose from her chair, her expression calm but determined. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Hyperion. The luminary are under our protection. Leave this system immediately, or we will be forced to defend ourselves." The Kryvax commander's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "You protect them. What are you? Their hired security. No matter. You have 1 hour to surrender, or we will take your ship by force." As the transmission cut off, Chen turned to her crew. "Battle stations, and get me Chief Engineer Patel." What followed was a flurry of activity that left the luminary observers in awe. The humans moved with purpose and precision, their bodies handling the increased G-forces of combat maneuvers with ease. What truly shocked the luminary was how the humans seemed to come alive under the pressure, their movements becoming sharper, their decisions faster. The Kryvax rely on overwhelming force and fear, the luminary leader explained, watching the preparations. They have never encountered a species from a high-gravity world before. Chen smiled grimly. "Then they're in for a surprise. Mr. Patel, are the modifications ready?" "Yes, Captain." The engineer's voice came through. "Though I still say it's crazy. We've never tried anything like this before." "Neither have they," Chen replied. "And that's our advantage." As the hour deadline approached, the Hyperion's crew enacted their plan. The ship's artificial gravity system, modified with luminary insights, created a localized high-gravity field that they could project. When the Krivak ships moved to attack, they found their carefully coordinated formation disrupted by gravitational forces they'd never encountered before. The Hyperion moved with surprising agility for its size, using the gravity projector to force the Krivak ships into vulnerable positions. Their weapons, calibrated for normal space combat, struggled to adjust to the gravitational distortions. "You fight like Deathworlders," the Krivak's commander transmitted, their voice containing a new note. "Fear. We are Deathworlders," Chen replied calmly, as another gravity wave sent 2 Krivak ships spinning away from their attack vector. "The Luminary are under our protection. This is your final warning." The battle that followed would become legendary in both human and luminary space. The Hyperion, despite being severely outnumbered, used its revolutionary gravity tactics and the crew's natural resilience to systematically disable the Krivak's fleet. The raiders, faced with an enemy unlike any they'd encountered before, finally retreated in disarray. In the aftermath, the luminary leader approached Chen, their skin glowing with patterns of admiration and gratitude. "We feared your strength when we first met," they communicated. "Now we thank the stars for it. You truly are remarkable beings." Chen looked around at her crew, proud of how they'd handled themselves. "We're just doing what anyone would do, protecting those who need help." "No," the luminary leader's skin pulsed with emphasis. "What you consider normal, we consider extraordinary. Your people casually endure conditions that would crush most species. You think faster, move faster, fight harder in situations that would paralyze others with fear. Yet you choose to use that strength to defend rather than conquer. The galaxy will not forget this." As the Hyperion's crew began repairs and the Luminary helped tend to the wounded, Shen realized that this encounter had done more than just defeat an enemy. It had proven that humanity's Deathworld adaptations, far from being the source of fear, could be a force for good in the galaxy. The Luminary's initial fear of human physical capabilities had transformed into deep respect and trust. The test had been passed, and the foundation of a lasting alliance had been forged in the crucible of combat. The victory over the Krivak's raiders had earned the U.S. Hyperion and its crew respect throughout luminary space, but it had also drawn unwanted attention. As the ship approached the luminary homeworld, carrying diplomatic representatives and technological exchange proposals, no one suspected that their greatest challenge still lay ahead. The first warning came from deep within the ship's engineering section. Chief Engineer Patil noticed a subtle fluctuation in the quantum drive's containment field. Under normal circumstances, it would have been a minor concern, but Patil hadn't survived 20 years in deep space by ignoring his instincts. "Captain," he called Chen directly, bypassing normal protocols. "We have a situation developing in engineering." Before Chen could respond, the ship's sensors began registering massive energy spikes throughout all systems. The quantum drive's containment field was deteriorating at an impossible rate, as if something was actively attacking it. "Emergency shutdown," Chen ordered, but the controls weren't responding. The bridge crew watched in horror as system after system began to fail. Dr. Harrison, working with the luminary scientists, made the connection first. "Captain, these energy patterns, they match ancient luminary records. They call them the Void Hunters, a semi-organic technological virus that feeds on quantum energy." The luminary leader's skin turned almost black with terror. "The stories are true. Our ancestors fought these entities, but we fought them extinct. They corrupt technology, turn it against its users. No automated system can resist them." Chen's mind raced as she processed the implications. The Void Hunters had evolved to prey on the highly automated systems of spacefaring civilizations. The Luminary, like most advanced species, relied heavily on AI and automated systems. But humans, with their Deathworld origins, had always maintained manual backups and physical controls. "All hands, this is the captain." Chen's voice rang through the ship. "Initiate Protocol 0. Complete shutdown of all automated systems. We're going manual. What followed was something the Luminary had never witnessed before. The human crew moved with incredible speed and coordination, physically disconnecting systems and switching to manual controls. Their bodies, evolved to handle the crushing gravity of Earth, allowed them to move through sections of the ship that were now experiencing gravitational fluctuations that would have killed most species. In engineering, Patel and his team worked in conditions that the Luminary could barely comprehend. With the environmental systems failing, temperatures soared and radiation levels climbed. But the humans persisted, their bodies adapting to the harsh conditions in ways that seemed almost impossible. The Void Hunters are trying to breach the quantum drive's containment, Patel reported, his voice strained but steady. If they succeed, the resulting explosion will take out half this sector. Chen made her way to engineering, moving through corridors that were now death traps of fluctuating gravity and energy discharges. The Luminary watched in amazement as she and other crew members navigated conditions that their environmental suits could barely handle. "We need to purge the drive manually," Patel explained when she arrived. "But the radiation levels in the chamber will kill anyone who enters," Chen finished. "How long would someone have?" "Maybe 5 minutes before lethal exposure, but the override sequence takes at least 7. Chen looked at the chamber, then at her crew. "I'll do it." "Captain," the Luminary leader's voice came through a handheld communicator, their translator struggling with the energy interference. "You cannot survive those conditions. Even your remarkable biology has limits." "Watch us," Chen replied, already moving toward the chamber's entrance. "Humanity's greatest strength isn't our physical capabilities. It's our refusal to accept those limits." What happened next would be recorded in both human and Luminary history. Chen entered the chamber, beginning the override sequence as radiation alarms screamed warnings. Her crew worked frantically to support her, manually routing power and maintaining what shielding they could. The Luminary watched through monitoring systems as Chen's vital signs deteriorated. By all their medical knowledge, she should have collapsed after 4 minutes. But she kept going, her movements becoming slower but never stopping. 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. When the override finally completed, Chen stumbled out of the chamber, her skin burned and her body ravaged by radiation. But she was smiling. The Void Hunters, deprived of their energy source, dissipated into harmless particles. The Luminary medical team worked alongside human doctors to save Chen's life, their advanced healing technologies combining with humanity's natural resilience. As she recovered, the Luminary leader visited her in the medical bay. "We thought we understood your species' strength when we saw you fight the Kryvax," they communicated, their skin showing patterns of deep respect. "But this was different. You didn't just endure impossible conditions. You chose to face them, knowing the cost." Chen, her voice weak but clear, replied, "That's what humans do. We see impossible situations as challenges to overcome, not limits to accept." The Void Hunters' attack had revealed something profound about humanity to their alien allies. It wasn't just their physical adaptations that made them remarkable. It was their indomitable will, their ability to push beyond what even their own bodies should be capable of when others needed them. The incident would become known as the breaking point, not because humanity broke, but because they broke through what others thought possible. It was a testament to the unique strengths that their Deathworld origins had given them, and a preview of how those strengths would reshape the galaxy. The Luminary High Council chamber fell silent as Captain Chen entered, still bearing the scars of her encounter with the Void Hunters. Behind her walked her crew and a delegation from Earth, their strong frames and confident movements drawing curious glances from the assembled alien representatives. The chamber's low gravity made their steps awkwardly light, but they had trained for this moment. News of the Hyperion's encounters, first with the Kryvax raiders and then with the legendary Void Hunters, had spread rapidly through known space. The chamber was packed with representatives from dozens of species, all members of the Galactic Confederation. Most had evolved on worlds with gravity far lower than Earth's, and all watched the humans with a mixture of fascination and apprehension. The luminary prime speaker's skin shimmered with formal patterns as they addressed the assembly. We gather today to discuss an unprecedented proposal. The humans have proven themselves not just capable allies, but essential ones. Their unique abilities and indomitable spirit have already saved countless lives. A representative from the Nexeri, a species of crystalline beings, raised an objection. While we acknowledge their assistance to the luminary, we must consider the implications. Their physical capabilities exceed those of any known species. Their tolerance for extreme conditions defies our understanding. How can we be certain they won't become a threat? Chen stepped forward, her voice clear and steady. I understand your concerns. Humanity's history is filled with examples of stronger powers dominating weaker ones. But we've learned from our past. We know that true strength lies not in the ability to conquer, but in the choice to protect. She gestured to her crew. Every member of my team could easily overpower most species in this chamber. Yet they choose to use their strength to save lives, to defend those who need protection. We don't view our abilities as making us superior. They simply give us a greater responsibility to help others. The chamber erupted in discussion, patterns of light flowing across luminary skin, while other species communicated through various means. The debate continued for hours, with Chen and her crew patiently addressing every concern and question. A turning point came when Chief Engineer Paddle demonstrated a new technology, a hybrid design combining human ingenuity with luminary energy manipulation. In the center of the chamber, he activated a device that could project controlled gravity fields, allowing even the most delicate species to experience different gravitational conditions safely. This is what we offer, Chen explained as council members tested the device. Not just our strength, but our perspective. Living on a high-gravity world taught humanity to overcome challenges through innovation and determination. We want to share that knowledge, that spirit, with all species. The luminary leader, who had witnessed the Hyperion's battles, added their voice. When the Void Hunters attacked, we saw something remarkable. The humans didn't just survive conditions that would kill most species. They chose to face those conditions to save others. Their physical capabilities are impressive, yes, but it's their will, their determination to protect life, that truly sets them apart. As the debate continued, more stories emerged. Other species began sharing encounters with human merchants and explorers who had helped them during crisis. A pattern emerged, humans using their unique abilities not to dominate, but to assist. The Nexeri representative, initially skeptical, shared how a human mining crew had once rescued their colonists from a high-pressure gas giant's atmosphere. Conditions that would have killed most rescue teams. Perhaps they conceded, their crystalline form reflecting the chamber's lights. What we first saw as a threat is actually an opportunity. After 3 days of deliberation, the vote was called. The result was clear. Humanity would be welcomed into the Galactic Confederation not just as members, but as designated protectors. Their role would be to help defend and support other species, particularly in conditions that others couldn't survive. The ceremony that followed was unlike anything in the Confederation's history. Each species contributed to a symbolic gift, a medallion forged in Earth-like gravity, containing elements from 100 worlds. As Chen accepted it on humanity's behalf, she felt the weight of the responsibility they were accepting. This alliance, she declared, marks the beginning of a new era. Together, we will face challenges that none of us could overcome alone. Humanity pledges not just our strength, but our unwavering commitment to protecting all life among the stars. The luminary prime speaker's skin blazed with patterns of hope and unity. The Deathworlders have become the guardians, they announced. Let it be recorded that on this day, the galaxy became a little safer, a little stronger, and a little wiser. As the ceremony concluded, Chen looked at her crew, at the alien representatives, and at the stars visible through the chamber's transparent dome. They had come so far from that first encounter with the damaged luminary ship, yet in many ways, their journey was just beginning. The alliance had been forged. Now they would have to prove worthy of the trust placed in them. 6 months after humanity's integration into the Galactic Confederation, the U.S. Hyperion had been joined by dozens of other human vessels, each serving as mobile response units throughout Confederate space. Captain Chen's ship, now upgraded with a mixture of human and alien technology, had become a symbol of the new alliance. But the true test of this partnership was about to begin. The emergency call came from the edge of known space. A massive stellar anomaly had appeared without warning, threatening an entire sector. The Confederation's Scientific Council was baffled. Nothing in their vast archives matched this phenomenon. Multiple systems are already affected, the Luminary Prime Speaker reported during an emergency session. The anomaly is releasing waves of intense gravity and radiation that our ships cannot approach. 3 evacuation attempts have already failed. Chen studied the data streaming across her ship's displays. Dozens of colonies and outposts lay in the anomaly's path, home to millions of beings from various species. Most of them evolved in low-gravity environments, making evacuation through the anomaly's effects impossible. The Hyperion will lead the rescue operation, Chen declared, but we'll need help from everyone. What followed was unprecedented in galactic history. Human ships formed the front line, their crews better able to withstand the intense gravitational forces. But each vessel was enhanced with technology and expertise from multiple species. Luminary energy manipulation, Nexary crystal matrices, and innovations from a dozen other civilizations all played crucial roles. The Hyperion led the fleet into the anomaly's effect zone. Gravity waves that would have crushed most ships barely slowed them down. The human crews, their bodies evolved to handle Earth's gravity, operated efficiently even as conditions deteriorated. Multiple colonies detected, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from his station. Their protective fields are failing. We have less than 6 hours before total collapse. Chen coordinated with other ships, establishing a rescue corridor. Human vessels would move in close, while ships from other species provided support from safer distances. Each species contributed what they did best. Luminary energy technicians stabilized failing systems, Nexary crystals channeled and redirected harmful radiation, and human crews handled the physical evacuation of colonists. The operation pushed everyone to their limits. Human crew members worked in conditions that would have killed most species instantly, their bodies adapting to ever-increasing stresses. But they weren't just surviving. They were thriving, their Deathworld biology allowing them to function where others couldn't. Engineer Patel, working with a mixed team of human and alien scientists, made a crucial discovery. The anomaly isn't natural, he reported. It's artificial, some kind of ancient weapon or experiment gone wrong, and it's building towards a critical point. The news changed everything. This wasn't just a rescue mission anymore. They had to find a way to stop the anomaly before it expanded to threaten the entire sector. There's a pattern to the gravity waves, Dr. Harrison observed, working with luminary researchers. If we could disrupt it at the source, we'd need to get to the center, Patel finished. But the conditions there, even our ships can't handle that level of gravitational stress. Chen looked at her crew, then at the alien scientists and technicians who had become not just allies but friends. Then we'll find a way to handle it. That's what humans do. We adapt, we overcome, and we don't accept impossible odds when lives are at stake. The plan they developed was audacious. Using luminary energy manipulation and Nexary crystal technology, they modified the Hyperion's gravity projectors to create a temporary tunnel through the anomaly's effects. Human crew members would pilot the specially reinforced shuttle to the center, while their alien allies maintained the tunnel from a safe distance. The radiation levels at the core will be beyond lethal, the luminary chief scientist warned, their skin patterns showing deep concern. Even your remarkable biology has limits. We'll deal with that when we get there, Chen replied, already suiting up for the mission. Right now, millions of lives are counting on us. The journey to the anomaly's core tested every improvement and adaptation humanity had developed since leaving Earth. The shuttle's human crew endured conditions that defied conventional physics, their determination never wavering even as their bodies were pushed beyond all known limits. At the core, they found what remained of an ancient device, a failed experiment by some long-vanished civilization. With seconds to spare, they managed to disable it. Their unique combination of physical resilience and technical innovation, succeeding where pure technology had failed. As the anomaly collapsed harmlessly, the Galactic Confederation witnessed something profound. The humans hadn't just survived impossible conditions, they had adapted to them, thrived in them, and used them to save others. Their Deathworld origins, once seen as a potential threat, had proven to be the galaxy's salvation. In the aftermath, as the rescued colonists were safely relocated and the sector began to recover, the luminary Prime Speaker addressed an assembly of all Confederate species. Today, we truly understand why the humans were sent to us. They declared, their skin shimmering with patterns of profound realization. Their harsh world didn't just make them strong. It taught them to never give up, to always find a way forward, to use their strength to protect others. They are not just our allies or our guardians. They are our teachers, showing us that what we think of as limitations are often just challenges waiting to be overcome. Chen, standing with her crew among representatives from across the galaxy, felt the truth of those words. Humanity's journey to the stars had begun with fear, both their own and that of others. But they had proven that strength born of hardship could become a force for good, that challenges could forge not just physical capabilities, but also wisdom and compassion. The galaxy had gained more than guardians. It had gained hope, hope that no challenge was insurmountable, no odds too great when different species worked together, each contributing their unique strengths to a greater whole. As the Hyperion prepared for its next mission, Chen looked at her diverse crew, human and alien working side by side, and smiled. They had found their place among the stars, not as conquerors or mere survivors, but as protectors, teachers, and friends. The Deathworlders had become something greater than anyone had imagined possible. And their story was just beginning.